Hello everybody, Izzy here. This is video game footage that I recorded last night, and right here, waiting for Dark Souls to become available, was a really deep and powerful moment for me, which I will be explaining all throughout this video. Here I tried to log in. The servers were busy, so I went ahead and started an offline mode, which is actually perfect since I'm going to be playing the entire game offline and blind.
Yes, indeed. It is called Lothric, where the transitory lands of the Lords of Cinder converge. In venturing north, the pilgrims discover the truth of the old words. The fire fades, and the lords go without thrones. When the link of fire is threatened, the bell tolls, unearthing the old Lords of Cinder from their graves. Aldrich, Saint of the Deep, Farron's undead legion, the Abyss Watchers. And the reclusive lord of the profaned capital, Yom the Giant. Only in truth, the lords will abandon their thrones. And the unkindled will rise. Nameless, accursed undead, unfit even to be cinder. And so it is that ash seeketh embers.
When that cinematic ended, I was feeling so many powerful things. Here, I began making my character, and a lot of emotions went into this as well. I generally choose female, and young for my characters. Perhaps I just relate with young female characters. And when I arrived at the deprived option, I felt a pull. It seemed like to start out without weapons and armor would just make the game deeper for me. I chose the Sovereignless Soul for a gift. And when I arrived at my face presets, I got to this one, which would be considered the ugly face preset. And like the deprived option, I felt some sort of pull towards her. Like I wanted to build an underdog character. I wanted her to be unique. And she has this beaten down feel that feels like what the woman in the cinematic was talking about. The unkindled who is even unfit to be cinder. A little while later, I finished her face, and I find her to be quite deep and beautiful. Of course, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, so you can decide how you feel about her. I gave her a simple name, Zuri. She has a feeling emanating off of her that I have felt a lot in this world. She feels vulnerable and nervous to face what is to come. And now the game begins, and this beautiful thing happens. Seeing my character rise up out of the dirt like that was really profound. It was like I got this sense that she was coming back from the dead. And here I'm just looking at my new character Zuri, which I instantly feel a deep connection with. I gave her one pink eye and one blue eye. I find the stronger the bond I feel to my characters, the more I can feel like I'm actually inside the game while I'm playing, instead of just a person looking at it from the outside. The game then becomes more alive and more real instead of just being entertainment. I think they did a really good job setting up the tutorial in Dark Souls 3. And up here I came across an ashen flask, which I don't know what that is. I will figure that out as I play, I'm sure. I also noticed a blue line between the hit point bar and the stamina bar. Usually a blue line means magic. And apparently, weapons have special skills. I'm going to have to figure out a lot deeper as I play as well. But as you can see, my club lit up. Kinda looks like it's on fire. And coming up here, this message reads, "Turn back." This is what makes the Dark Souls games the most beautiful games in the world. Maybe if I proceed, I'll drown or die in some scary way. Who knows what's back there? It's so mysterious. And everyone needs to feel mystery in their life. And looking at this structure right here just invokes more mysterious feelings. Then, of course, I have come across my first bonfire. Everyone loves their first bonfires. It's one of the deep joys of this game. And there's no options, which is quite strange. And now the exploring of the world begins. Reminds me of when I was a little girl. I had a dog and her name was Molly. It seemed mean to me to put a leash on her, so I would always try to walk her without a leash. And of course, all the adults would tell me to put a leash on her. So I would try to go off into some nature spot that was away from people so I could let her off the leash and run free. And she would always run way ahead of me, and I would end up following her. She would lead me to magical spots, and that's what these games feel like. Like they're always leading me somewhere magical and mysterious. Here I died for the very first time in this game, and something incredible happened. I thought I would be hollow, but lo and behold, Zuri is not hollow at all, which I thought was really cool of them to throw in something different. And now I have my first encounter with a boss. I mean, if you look at how they did this, I had no idea if this was a boss or an NPC or just a statue. Then I saw remove sword, It looks like snake hair coming out of its back. So I removed the sword, and this happens. And I very quickly become aware that he is indeed a boss. I was nervous, even though I had played Dark Souls 1 and 2, and even Bloodborne. I felt very intimidated. I also felt mystique and danger. I just really felt alive. And that's just how these Dark Souls games always make me feel. And the human spirit wants to feel alive. It yearns to feel alive. And that's why people get so addicted to these Dark Souls games. Because they bring out the alive feeling so powerful. It's such a transcendent experience. It's more than just a video game. It becomes something that is such a deep feeling that every fiber in your being needs it. And so a video game addiction is born, as some would call it. Generally, those are people who don't understand these deep feelings of aliveness that these games bring, which can be incredibly healing to someone's soul. This is about my 5th attempt at this boss, and I started to see his patterns. So I got a little better at killing him. The second part of this fight is a little bit tricky, but I finally got brave enough and just got in there and whacked him enough to where I finally started to prevail. You just have to dive in and take chances in this game. My hit points started getting really low towards the last half of this fight. But I just hung in here and kept at him because I knew I could get him. It's such a beautiful feeling when you beat one of these bosses. It's so much more powerful than the combat in other video games because it's such a struggle to win. It brings a deeper meaning when you achieve victory. And now I'm examining the item the boss dropped. And it looks like I'm going to be able to warp between bonfires again. And don't you just love opening doors in these games? Such a focal point. You just never know what's going to be on the other side. I always am really eager to find out, because it could be anything. And next, I'm exploring this path. Feels like a side path to me. And I come to discover that there are a lot of these branching paths. I had to backtrack a lot to try to get my bearings. To be able to find my way. And then I was just gazing over this edge, and that reminded me of a lot of dreams that I have of looking off of high places and looking over the edge. I have a lot of those. There's some kind of particular beauty when standing on the edge of a cliff and just staring at the big fall. And then I come across this beauty. Have you ever seen such a pretty woman? I was mystified. I wanted to stare at her for an hour. I felt the same way for Emerald Herald in Dark Souls 2 and the doll in Bloodborne. I love these precious goddess-like ancient figures that they put in these games near the early bonfires. And listen to that music. It's so haunting. Her clothes and hair are divine. I love her just from seeing her.
Welcome to the bonfire, unkindled one. I'm a firekeeper. I tend to the flame and tend to thee. The lords have left their thrones. Welcome to the bonfire, unkindled one. I'm a firekeeper. I tend to the flame and tend to thee. The lords have left their thrones and must be delivered to them. To this end I am at thy side. Very well. Then touch the darkness within me. Take nourishment from these sovereignless souls.
And after I spoke to her, I felt 10 times more infatuated with her than I was with the doll and Emerald Herald. This woman just blew my mind. The infatuation level is just unreal.
Let these souls withdraw from their vessels, manifestations of disparity, elucidated by fire, burn deep within me.
Then it was time to level up. And I noticed that the attributes looked changed a little bit from Dark Souls 2. I really liked that the explanations are longer. That should make leveling up even more exciting. I really appreciate that. So, leveling up.
Ashen One, to be unkindled is to be a vessel for souls. Sovereignless souls will become thy strength. I will show thee how. Ashen One, bring me souls plucked from their vessels.
Here I was wondering why there's no bonfire, until I saw the embed the coiled sword, which was what the boss had dropped. And I found out that your character builds the bonfire, and that's amazing. I really liked that. It was a nice touch. I saw a tune spell there as well. I can't wait for that. I love to do magic in these games. Now I'm gonna go check out travel. And I see the high wall of Lothric. I haven't been there yet, so I was wondering, can I just teleport to somewhere where I haven't been to? Because that's a definite change from the other Souls games.
Ashen One, produce the coiled sword at the bonfire. The mark of ash will guide thee to the land of the lords, to Lothric, where the homes of the lords converge.
And after talking to her, it looks like I do teleport.
Ah, another one roused from the sleep of death. Well, you're not alone. We unkindled are worthless. Can't even die right. Gives me conniptions. And they'd have us seek the lords of Cinder and return them to their moulding thrones. But we're talking true legends with the metal to link the fire. We're not fit to lick their boots. Don't you think? What a sick joke. Asking us to seek the lords of Cinder and return them to their moulding thrones. We're talking true legends, those who would link the fire. We're not fit to lick their boots.
Speaking to him made me remember another thing that I love. That's the NPC characters in these games. They're very often sad, broken, and seem to be caught in some sort of despair. They're generally sitting in a place where they have given up, I have felt that feeling many times in my life. So I always have a deep feeling for these characters. I felt moved by him. And when he said, "You don't stand a chance, and that you're lowly," that really struck home. It made me feel more. And right after he spoke that, I then encountered someone that I didn't stand a chance with. I kept hitting him, and his hit points would barely go down. He is just tough, and then he crushes me. You gotta love these Dark Souls games. I love it. I love getting crushed.